Marie Antoinette was no longer the Queen of France. Her husband, Louis XVI, had been executed. The shock and trauma had left her in a near catatonic state. She would neither eat nor drink. Her first request was to see the person who had attended her husband in his final hours, hoping that there might be some last message to her and their family. Permission for this meeting was refused. But some precious items were eventually smuggled into Marie that Louis had given to his attendant right before his execution. His gold wedding ring, which had engraved on it Marie's initials and the date of their proxy wedding, the 19th of April, 1770. It was told to tell Marie that the only way he parted with his wedding ring was with his life. He also gave the attendant locks of his children's hair. Marie's health had deteriorated significantly. She was incredibly thin, her hair had turned white, and she was suffering from convulsions and fainting fits, and it is believed that she may have been suffering from the early stages of cancer of the womb. The flamboyant clothing and style which Marie had been so well known for was now replaced with simple black mourning wear. Multiple concoctions of plans to try to get Marie to escape imprisonment were made. She always refused, unless it also meant that she could leave with her son. The interests of my son are the only guide I have, and whatever happiness I could achieve by being free of this place, I cannot consent to separate myself from him. I could not have any pleasure in this world if I abandoned my children, she said. On July 3rd, commissioners announced to her that her son was to be removed from her. The 8-year-old screamed and cried in horror. When Marie Antoinette was taken to the final prison before she would be executed, she was admitted as prisoner number 280, accused of conspiring against France. After a 2-day trial, she was found guilty of treason and sentenced to death by guillotine. On October 16, 1793, at 4:30 in the morning, just 30 minutes after she had been told she was to die, she wrote her last letter to her sister. I have just been condemned to death. Not to a shameful death, that can only be for criminals. But in order to rejoin your brother, innocent like him, I hope to demonstrate the same firmness as he did at the end. I am calm, as people are whose conscience is clear. My deepest regret is at having to abandon our poor children. You know that I only lived for them. She also asked, let my son never forget his father's last words. Never try to avenge our deaths. A few hours later, her maid came to ask if she would take any food. She refused, except for a small bit of broth. She was then forced to change, in full view of the guards, into a plain white dress, black stockings, plum-colored shoes, and a white linen cap. Marie's very thin white hair was hacked off with a pair of very large scissors, and her hands bound behind her back. Marie Antoinette was put in the back of a cart and paraded through the streets before reaching the place of her execution. The streets were filled with throngs of people. Yells and jeers could be heard at the former queen. Long live the Republic! The cart jolted and nearly threw her onto the street. As Marie walked up the stairs, all saw an incredible composure. The walk of a woman who knew what was about to happen and had accepted her fate. She accidentally stepped on the foot of her executioner. Apologizing, she said, I did not do it on purpose. Marie Antoinette lost her head at 15 minutes past 12 on Wednesday, the 16th of October, 1793. Both Marie's head and body were buried in a mass grave. The soon-to-be famous Madame Tussaud made a wax sculpture of Marie's face while the gravediggers had paused to eat lunch and they had left the body unattended. 22 years later, she was reinterred here at the Basilica Saint-Denis with her husband during the Bourbon Restoration.